I want to talk to you about one of the biggest problems that I'm seeing when I'm spending big chunk of my week with sales leaders and their teams, training, coaching, enable them, and that's around urgency. So a lot of sales leaders are telling me that they've got no confidence in the forecast or limited confidence in the forecast. Deals are just getting stuck. They're taking far too long to close. So one of the biggest challenges they're running into is around urgency, momentum in their pipeline. And when we actually lift up the hood, when I start looking at CRM, when they send me call recordings to listen to before we build the program, the training program, when we're deploying like medic or discovery best practices, when I'm listening to those calls and I'm looking at the data, it just tells me that most of the case, the reason they haven't got any urgency is the wrong person's driving the conversation. So we need a couple of things, which I'm going to give you today. And I call the framework urgency drivers. Okay. So the three buckets or the three things we need to think about are stakeholders. Why change? Why now? So let's think about this from a medic perspective. Stakeholders are going to be champions. Okay. Why change is going to be pain. Why now is going to be metrics. These are the things that are going to create some urgency. Now we need to figure these out for every account we're working. And then we need to connect these together and then enable our champion to tell our value story across the organization to those 8, 10, 12, 15 plus different stakeholders and people inside that buying group. So let me break this down. So champions, three ways you're going to qualify a champion is they've got to have power and influence in the customer's organization. Without that, you're going to really struggle. They also have to have a vested interest in your success. If they're going to swing the bat for you, there has to be a reason for them specifically to do it. That could be they want a promotion, recognition, a bonus, commission. I mean, they might even just want to finish work at 5 p.m. and go and play with their kids or go play tennis, whatever it might be, right? There has to be something in it for them. And then the third thing that they also have to be doing, which is a knock-on effect of the second one, is they have to be selling for you internally. Because buying groups are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, we need somebody driving consensus and bringing people into a conversation so that we can do what we do best, which is sell our solution. Okay. So the first part of urgency drivers is, do we even have the right person to drive urgency? And most of the time, I'm afraid you don't. When I look at the sales conversations, I listen to those calls. So we need to get that right. The second thing is around why change. That's going to be pain when we think about medic or medpic. Okay. These are going to be the way that how they're getting the job done without you. What sucks about doing it that way? Where are the bottlenecks? What's it preventing them from doing? And that's going to feed us into our third bucket. Okay. So first bucket is champion stakeholders. Second is why change. That's going to be pain. We want to be able to identify that pain through discovery and then implicate the pain onto the customer. And then the third part, which is going to help us really create some urgency with really important people like economic buyers, is metrics. That's going to be the why now. So when deals start to stall, there's no urgency, there's no compelling reason to do something today. When someone says, hey, should we wait and do this in 6 months' time? No one can defend that. But if we've got implicated metrics, if we've got metrics that are suffering, and our champion can tell our value story internally, we can create some urgency. So that's going to be things like in a sales organization, only 55% of our sellers are hitting target in Q1, and we're likely going to hit even less in Q2, right? Or that might be when we started our fiscal year, we did our financial planning and our headcount planning, etc. We based our model on having a 25% win rate because that's what we had last year, and we're currently pacing at 18%. We're never going to make our target. We're never going to hit our number if we stick at 18%, and that's going to cost our business 17 million of new ARR in 2025. Okay, so if we can have our champion articulate their problem, the pain that they're experiencing, and how it's happening, and then they can connect that to a business metric around like revenue, efficiency, risk. It's amazing how fast a deal will flow through the funnel and they'll buy it. Now, you might have seen this happen, but not really know what's happening. So when you like close a deal, let's say in Q1 or Q4 last year, you might have closed a deal really quick and gone, wow, that one just flew through the pipeline. That's probably because you had a really good buyer, a really good champion that could articulate internally the problem that they're facing and the impact it's having on their business around metrics. You probably just wasn't present in those conversations, and you probably didn't do good enough discovery to identify those things. But for most of you that are losing deals to status quo and deals are slipping from one quarter to the next, is because there's no urgency, not because the business isn't suffering, but because we're not doing a very good job as sellers to enable our champion to tell that value story, to use those urgency drivers in their business. If you want the framework that I use to do this, drop me a DM. If you're a sales leader, you're getting pretty frustrated with your team's deals, just getting stuck in the funnel, they're taking far too long to close, let me know. And if you're an individual contributor and you're struggling, you're not getting the support that you need, you want to close deals faster, you want to get to your number with less stress, you want to be don't want to be breathing into a brown paper bag for the next 8 weeks of Q2, let me know. I'll send you over my urgency driver framework that you can start to apply in your sales conversations today. Hope this video was useful. Give us a follow. Go check us out on YouTube. Follow us on LinkedIn. We got a great newsletter that we're pumping out a lot of content with. So go to the revenueenabler.com, go to our newsletter and subscribe there. If you've got any questions, let us know in the comments. See you soon.